everyone, it's your boy Right Travels. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't done any videos for 2 or 3 weeks. Things in England are opening up, things are a bit better, so I haven't really had as much time as I'd like to. However, we are due a video and you're going to get one. This is all about my time in India last year, which was my last backpacking trip. I think India is relevant at the moment due to the situation they find themselves in. Really does break my heart as I've met a lot of interesting people from there, and I've also got a lot of close friends here from India as well. So my thoughts really do go out to everyone involved, and I hope they can recover as soon as possible so that we can get back to exploring India and they can show the world what they have to offer. Before I get started, if I could ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring those bells for notifications on future videos. So on Valentine's Day last year, I flew solo to meet Liam in Delhi. We did about 7 cities in 2.5 weeks, so we worked really rapid, but we got a lot done. I've got a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of clips and memories, so I hope you enjoy. So after a 14-hour flight, 3 taxis that didn't really know how to get to my destination in Delhi, eventually found myself with Liam and his friend Saville in the heart of Delhi. Staying with our friend out there definitely gave us an easier start to life in India, as it's definitely a little bit more intense and difficult to travel compared to the likes of Thailand. The family, the friends, the community was so lovely and accommodating. The dog was lovely, where we stayed was perfect. It was exactly what I needed after a long flight. And it was nice to be able to cut off. Delhi is absolutely mental. Sensory overload definitely comes to mind. The colours, the smells, the noise, the animals left, right and centre. You've got elephants on one side of the road, monkeys above you, dogs, cows, you name it. It's all going on. Definitely the most bizarre capital city I've ever met in the best way possible. We spent about 3 days in Delhi. Basically got stuck in straight away. Explored all the city centre, all the sort of hustle and bustle of the streets. Went to some temples, went to Nando's, did some nights out. We really did do it all. After our first day, we went out. We were drinking cocktails that were longer than our arm. I was getting brain freeze and a burning mouth from this like curry ice dessert thing, which you can see at the moment.
Go for it!
Close your mouth.
Close it. Come here, eat it, man.
Wasn't exactly my most pleasant experience with food. So after our relatively sheltered start to life in India, me and Liam got on the bus to Jaipur, the pink city where elephants on the street is a norm, the wildlife's crazy, the culture's rich, the temples, the day trips you can do are absolutely fantastic. However, our start to life went from bad to worse. Our first meal there, we wanted something a little bit more familiar, went to a pizza restaurant, had pizza, ice cream, cocktails, all of which basically put me in the bin. I was up for about 12 hours throwing up all night, so if any of my hostel roommates from that trip find this video, apologies, nothing I could do. I was absolutely written off. So you have to be really careful what you eat and drink out there. I woke up feeling the worst I'd ever felt in my life. We got in the car to do a day trip to see all the temples and bits and pieces. We spent most of the day moaning about how ill we were. I was hunched over a bin at any opportunity, had to stop off at a pharmacy to get some special remedies and medicines and tablets, some of which helped, some didn't. I was not feeling well at all, but the views, the animals, seeing the snake charmers, seeing everything it had to offer definitely made it manageable. So after recovering in Jaipur, we went on to the next part of the Golden Triangle. The Golden Triangle is Delhi, Jaipur and Agra. That's the kind of like tourist circuit that most people do, so that's how we started. Got the train to Agra, where Donald Trump was actually visiting at the time. We didn't actually get to see him, but can't say I'm that bothered, to be honest. But what we did see was a lot of hotels. The first hotel we went to had various suspicious stains on the bed sheets. I'll leave that to your imagination. The second hotel had a cow in the reception, which I don't mind, it's quite interesting, but it was to the point where we couldn't really get in or out because there's this fat cow just standing in the middle of the doorway, which I didn't really mind, but it was one of those things where, like, if a cow's blocking the door, you can't really get in or out, so it wasn't that logistically practical. But eventually we found somewhere to rest for the night, woke up at sunrise to go and see the Taj Mahal, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Smashed out the Golden Triangle in about 7 or 8 days, regrouped in Delhi to then fly south to Goa, swapping culture, sightseeing for alcohol, parties and nightclubs. Living off cocktails and miniature chocolate bars, teaching locals TikTok dances, absolutely knackering me out through the night. My liver and body had definitely seen healthier days. So the plan was to do 3 nights in Goa, we'd then move on to Mumbai. We didn't really book anything, but we forgot we didn't book anything till the last day in Goa, where panic quickly set in. We're drunk on a beach at 2 in the morning, realising we're meant to be in Mumbai the next day to kind of keep our schedule. We're very far from Delhi as it was, so not ideal. Going through Skyscanner, Google, every sort of transport option, we realised that getting to Mumbai was not as easy as we hoped. We actually had to drive to a place called Belgavi or Belgaum. It had 2 names for some reason, but this guy very kindly drove us 10 hours to a city called Belgaum, which I'd never heard of. When we got there, it was a very creepy experience. There was like no one there. Got there at 3 in the morning. It was a ghost town. All the buildings were kind of abandoned. There wasn't really much going on. It can be a little bit scary. However, found a hotel at 4 in the morning, settled down, got a lift to the airport the next morning, which was the smallest airport I've ever seen in my life. There was no more than about 10 people there other than me and Liam. However, we got there, we left there, we took off, and we eventually found ourselves in Mumbai. Mumbai was definitely one of the biggest eye-openers for me, definitely one of the most memorable places I've ever been. Obviously we talk about a wealth gap when you see the sort of third world countries. That was very evident in Mumbai. We actually stayed in the poorer side of town. We stayed in a place called the West Bandra slum, which was kind of the most famous slum. Poverty on a lot of different corners and streets. So really eye-opening, really made me realise how fortunate I am to come from where I come from, but definitely very valuable. The people are amazing, so hospitable, everyone was really curious to talk to you, really helpful, really lovely, so definitely a really good experience. Obviously, if I could change anything about where we were in Mumbai, I'd get rid of the rats. That's my one phobia. Seeing rats darting across the street was not a bit of me at all, was not enjoying that. But Liam found it funny, so there's light to every bad situation. Liam, I can't do it. Liam, don't I can't do it. Please, where is it? It's the one thing I don't deal with. The most memorable experience of Mumbai was the slum tour. We went through all the nooks and crannies, which was kind of resemblant of my time in Rio when we went through the favelas. You see their own little world, they're sort of cut off from the rest of the country. All the little companies, schools, organisations within the slum, really, it's like a standalone community. So really sad to see in some respects, but seeing the kids in the schools that were happy to see us was really heartwarming and definitely something I won't ever forget. Finished in Mumbai, we then flew to Delhi to then head off to our final stop, which is in the north. The area is called Uttarakhand, and we went to Jim Corbett National Park, or Jim Corbett Tiger Sanctuary, I think it had 2 names again, in the hope of seeing tigers in the wild. It was meant to be one of the hot spots in India. We didn't see any, so that was a bit disappointing. We drove 10 hours, were there for 24 hours, and then drove back 10 hours, so very exhausting. If we had more time, we probably would have been able to see some. We did see an elephant in the wild and a few other bits and pieces, a few different creatures, but it was very, very tiring. We arguably did a little bit too much, to be honest. We went to about 7 or 8 cities in 17 days or 16 days, so it was absolutely full speed ahead. But despite not seeing the tigers, we got to see the national park in all its beauty, an absolutely incredible rural area near the border of Nepal, and it really did make you realise how big the world is, how big India is, how irrelevant our little corner of the world is compared to the rest of the world. In summary, India is not for the faint-hearted. I said about the sensory overload, you know, the craziness of all the cities, the fast pace. You don't really get a chance to chill very often unless you go to the coast where it's a bit more resort based. It really is a huge culture shock. It was one of the first places I've been to where I've had like so much attention, just having things like tattoos and stuff, people coming up to you, taking pictures in the street, just out of curiosity really. Like, the people are lovely, but it is a really weird position to find yourself in when you're kind of like, people are queuing up to take pictures of you and stuff. So felt like a bit of a celebrity, to be honest, but absolutely unbelievable experience. One of the most diverse countries I've ever seen. You know, we talk about the wealth gap, the wildlife, the change of pace from city to city, all the places you can go to. It's not as easy to travel as the likes of Thailand or Bali, somewhere like that. But if you want a bit of a challenge and you don't want to kind of put yourself in any danger, I'd definitely recommend India. I've got a lot of friends from there that have always spoke highly of it, and it did not disappoint. I did get Delhi belly. It's kind of part of the parcel really. I've got a bit of a jippy stomach at the best of times, so I knew what I was in for. Not much you can do about it really. Just try and be careful what you eat and drink. The weather is unreal. It's hot, it's humid, it's heavy, which is kind of what I like. But generally speaking, one of the most incredible, exciting countries you'll ever go to. So like I say, if you do want a challenge, I'd definitely recommend it. As I said earlier, the situation that India find themselves in is really sad for me personally and for everyone there, so I really do feel terrible about it, and hopefully things do recover quickly. What you have to remember as well is some of my bad experiences are just down to my bad luck. The likes of Delhi belly, getting lost in Mumbai, or not booking a flight somewhere because we're stupid. That's kind of our fault. So you could probably plan things a little bit better, but generally speaking, 10 out of 10 experience. Would definitely go back. I feel India doesn't really get spoken about much in the way of backpacking. I think when we talk about Asia, we always just consider the kind of Thailand catchment, Southeast Asia, but Asia is a huge place. You know, going from India to China, all the places in between as well. So if you do want to backpack, you want a challenge, you want something that's a bit off the beaten track without putting yourself at too much risk, definitely look at India. I hope this video has created some appeal to visit India, as it's definitely got a close place in my heart. If it has, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring those bells for notifications on future videos. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I also hope it won't be long before I can start going away again to bring you a bit more of a variety of videos. I know it's kind of boring me kind of sat here talking to a camera, but there's not much I can do at the moment. So hopefully not many more months and I'll be away and I'll be able to show you more content just like this. But until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.